we're gonna define, two questions we're gonna try to answer today is who is the credible messenger, and what is the role of the credible messenger. So this is a mental exercise to really kind of give to, I've asked people who are watching, really just take a moment to kind of fill in these four circles around credible messenger. I'll explain a little bit more in detail why I'm asking you to do that now, and then you'll see how we connect the dots with this particular piece. So take a few seconds.
Go back.
Can you go back and just take a few seconds here, fill in the blanks. Remember what what we see as the credible messenger, and then we'll revisit this conversation in a couple of more slides next. So as you can see, defining the credible messenger, there's different titles that we use: urban mentor, peer support, facilitator, change, community navigators, and mentors. So being a credible messenger is not just a specific type of work, but that everyone who identifies themselves as being helpers, working with young folks in the community and in the criminal justice system, or any of the system stakeholders, or any of the systems such as education, housing, wherever you find young people in need, their title, they can be defined as a credible messenger. Next. Only a man who knows what it is like to be defeated can reach down into the bottom of his soul and come up with the extra ounce of power it takes to win the match when it's even. So, Muhammad Ali, I don't need to say more about that other than, he was the greatest fighter and also advocate of his time, of our time, the 20th century. So it was really important to bring forth some of the our positive thinkers and really look at some of their words to kind of move an agenda to change and transform young folks. Next. So who is the credible messenger? The definition. The credible messenger is a person who through experiences of their own is able to translate those life experience lessons into relevant information that can be shared with people in need of guidance. It is through personal life lessons, cultural competency, language, and clear understanding of the person being helped can a credible messenger be of assistance to the person in need. So I want you to just think about it. We're not going to go back to it, but in slide 5, the exercise where there was the mental piece about those four circles being what is the credible messenger, right? And when we do this exercise, we want to think about how do we feel it? Who is credible to us, right? A credible messenger is not defined by what they're able to give, but by the people who find them credible. So, like, I think it was the young lady who said earlier about advocacy. I'm just going to use some of her words because she was a powerful speaker. She spoke about young people really gravitating to the people that's most like them. And being a credible messenger is probably one of the most powerful pieces, is the fact that people in the community will gravitate to them as they give the assistance necessary to help that person achieve whatever their goals are they set for themselves.
And to really attest to that, good afternoon, Lloyd Jones. To attest to that, based on my own experiences with Abdul Malik, when I first met him, I didn't really know who he was and didn't know what he was about, but he just asked me, what are you doing? Are you in school? Are you working? And it just piqued my interest. It's all right, why does this random person care about me? So I was able to connect with him, on another level, where I guess it wouldn't. I connected with him on another level that was I wasn't as connected, to my PO or other people around me, because they were telling me, this is what you need to do, this is what you have to do. The jewels that I got from Abdul was this is what you have to do. It's your choice if you want to do it or not. I'm just letting you know. And it really spoke to me because before me and him, I wasn't really about change or employment. I was pretty much lost in high school, doing whatever, chasing girls, and then it just helped me get on track. It changed my whole mindset. From that point on, it was all right, now I'm gonna graduate school, I'm going to college, I have to get a job, and these are all things that I wasn't thinking about before I met him. And I guess that really attests to the young people really gravitating towards a credible messenger. So that would be an example of that.
Next. So the defining factor of the credible messenger is their ability to support a person in need as the person who works through the experience and can learn from the experience while being supported by the credible messenger in their community and life beyond what is most common to the person in need. So I think that's a lot for like two run-on sentences, right? So really, what is it we talk? What are we talking about? The credible messenger's role is to really help to create a trusting relationship, to develop the trusting relationship. And in developing this relationship, there's also time to kind of define what the power structure in the relationship is. And really, for a credible messenger, there is no "I'm going to tell you what to do." The messenger is not an authority figure, right? But more so of support, right? And allowing for the young person, or whoever that's in need of services or in need of help, to develop themselves, right? And really just support those ambitions and goals that the person sets for themselves. So the person in need can begin to transform themselves, and then the credible messenger can help address the anxieties of being successful. So, I always like to say that young people or people in general who find themselves in those spaces, those unhealthy spaces, are comfortable. And then when you ask them to become successful or have that conversation where they talk about successes, they want to do it, but they just really don't know how to get started. So then it becomes the role of the credible messenger, not so much to push them, but to really be the sounding board for them to motivate themselves. And then through the conversations in a healthy relationship, maybe start the advocacy process. And I say maybe because sometimes it takes a lot of work on the individual who's being serviced to get involved. And but if in that relationship there's room to kind of create certain avenues for the young person or the person who's in need of help to move, then you could kind of help that person get to the starting gate and then walk them through their experiences, because ultimately it should be the person who's asking for help helping themselves, and the credible messenger is there as a support system, or helping them to define what their support system looks as they move forward. So Lloyd, you want to talk a little bit about what happened initially when you was going back to school?
Right. So pretty much what had happened was, I was messing up in school. I was failing. I was doing horrible, and then I needed, to find another solution, because I knew if I would have stayed in the school that I was at, that I wouldn't have graduated on time, or probably wouldn't have graduated at all. So I had sat down with Abdul one day, and I told him I had looked into a transfer school where I'll be able to get my credits faster and graduate on time. And he was like, "Oh, all right, that's dope. Let's do this. All right, come on." And then I guess the day of, I was supposed to go and go to the school and fill out the paperwork and all that. And Abdul was supposed to meet me. So it was really funny. He was supposed to meet me. He ended up not showing up, and I still got it done somehow. I guess. Well, can you speak more into that?
So basically, it was a part of the game plan. So you missed the whole part of it when we sit at the house on Sunday having dinner.
I skipped over that.
And then we was kind of and Lloyd and I was working on his goal sheet, and one of the things that he kept pushing to me was like, I need to get back to school. I was like, well, where do you want to go to school? And Lloyd had already found where he wanted to go, right? So he'd already made the necessary steps to find the school. We didn't have to go through the processes of kind of getting into school and doing and talking to his probation officer and having a conversation with his family. He had already done some of the work. So he was like, well, I want to go downtown on this day, and I'm go register for school. I was like, all right, I'll meet you there. And he winds up going to go register for school, and then I get this text message. I think it was a phone call, a couple of texts like, you had done it. He's like, yo, Abdul, I did it. And I was like, okay. And then I think it was a gig. It came back again to the house another Sunday. We sat down, we ate again, and it was another part of his plan that he was working on. He was like, yo, Abdul, we got to go do this. You gonna meet me? I was like, okay. And sure enough, another opportunity came up, and he went and did it, and I didn't show up. And then not until like literally several months after he had already started his role and going to school and really getting engaged in groups and all the different things we were working on together, that I had the conversation that he was like, yo, we did all these positive things. Remember, he was like giving me kudos for work. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything for him. But really be the sounding board for him to kind of move himself in the direction he wanted to move in. And he had already made up in his mind that he was going to do these things, and he just needed somebody. Basically, I figured he just needed somebody to talk to, right? And then once we had that conversation, and you was motivated to feel like that what you were doing was the right thing, what'd you do?
Get it done.
That was it. So so I became credible to him, not necessarily because I walked him through the process, but I supported his process and helped him to develop the plan necessary for him to be successful.